here for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. Excited you can join us for once again an exciting race on Tuesday night for MBN. I am by myself currently. I do hope to have some other people join me in the booth, but right now we are able to get this race in a little bit earlier for you guys at home, so we'll go ahead and make way. Now, first things first, I want to talk about the extreme crash we saw in this year's Daytona 500 in our concern for Ryan Newman. I have watched this sport for 20 years now, and I am amazed at the ability for NASCAR to go ahead and make a car that is safe, that we are able to so much see that we see guys get in these horrendous wrecks and they come out unscathed. But I think last Monday night was a reminder into just how much we take sometimes for granted how dangerous this sport is. It is one of the most dangerous things we could ever ask of these guys, to get into a car, strap themselves in, and go for 200 miles an hour for 500 miles. And we've seen the best at Daytona, and we've no doubtly seen the worst. And Ryan Newman's crash was definitely one of the worst I have ever seen. I am so thankful for the safety innovations, everything from the catch fence, the car, what NASCAR has done, the head and neck restraint, all of that coming from the only death that we've had in the Daytona 500, and that was Dale Earnhardt 19 years ago to the day. The fact that Ryan Newman is awake and alert, he does have serious injuries, but that man is still alive and with us today is nothing short of a miracle. And I just want to take some time. I know when I speak for myself, but I know we speak for all of us here at MBN, that we are so thankful that Ryan Newman is still with us here today. Did just get joined in by a Nanner. NRG, thank you so much. Here we are at Talladega Superspeedway tonight, race 2 of the playoffs, but I was just commenting there a little bit on a somber note there, the wreck on the last lap of the Daytona 500. Walk us through your thoughts watching that hellacious crash.
Surprised to an extent, but at the same time, I'm like, Ryan Newman's always been one of them guys. He's one tough son, but he ain't gonna go down without a fight. And I really hope maybe we'll see him back in his car at some point. I don't want to say, when may or may not, because nobody knows. But yeah, there's no doubt on that. I think at some point he'll be back in this season. I hope. He's been around most of our lives.
Yeah.
The late 90s?
Since I've watched 2000, his rookie year was 2002, and during that time, Newman was on a hot streak. He was just broken into the circuit with Penske Racing, and he won out of every 5 races. That man won a pole. So, Rocket Man Ryan Newman has no doubtly solidified himself as one of the best NASCAR drivers, period. He does have a Daytona 500 win, the 50th running of the Great American Race back in 2008. And he's had highs that have seen him, with a Brickyard 400 win, a Daytona 500 win. He's definitely been on the low end as well. And mainly, it goes back to restrictor plate racing. Back in 2003, he had a hellacious crash that saw him tumbling in the infield throughout Daytona. And then also later on in that season as well, he lost a tire at Talladega back in the spring, and that caused what is now the biggest crash ever in the modern era of NASCAR. 27 cars were involved on lap 3 of the Ernst 499, that wreck. We've seen him upside down Talladega as well. We've seen, I can't tell you how many cars have landed on top of this man, as far as, just not even at restrictor plates. You look back to, I believe, 2 years ago, 2018, William Byron on top of him, Newman, and that was a week after Jamie McMurray flipped over him at Talladega. So it's just, this man has been through it all, and I would love to see him go out on top, but if he were to hang up the helmet, I would not blame him one bit. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. And I don't mean to laugh at that as, it's funny. It's just ironic that this man has had everything come at him. He's literally had, if not the scariest wreck I've ever seen in my life, and that man is still kicking. That just goes to show just how built Ryan Newman is. And I'm, again, so thankful. I know all of us in the NASCAR community, all of his friends, his family, everyone is just thinking good thoughts for Ryan Newman here. But on that note there, now we can focus on a great thing, which is the second race of the playoffs here for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. We do have a little bit of last-minute changes, I understand. It looks like our last week winner, Fluffy, is actually going to be running the 6 car. Him and Marcus Edub have decided to switch paint schemes today as well. And the 3 car, usually run by Steve Workman, will be honoring the late and great Dale Earnhardt. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's 19 years ago to the day that Earnhardt suffered fatality during the Daytona 500 back in 2001. All the safety changes that have come from that crash, though, played a big factor in saving Ryan Newman, I believe, there. T.
I can still remember that day as well, and some of them same feelings came back up last night. Just had no idea. But going back to the safety in the cars these days, it's unreal, man. We've seen some crazy wrecks over the years where, I mean, the cars don't get airborne as often as they used to, but they still can. They are disrupted in one way or another in the process of spinning. That was last night, for example, and that the risk is always going to be there. You're never going to be able to keep 10 cars completely on the ground, but what you can do for a driver to keep them safe when something like that happens, it's unreal how far they have come over the last 19 years.
One of the things that was installed after a crash that Ryan Newman was in, I'll take you back to 2009. It was the fall race that year, won by Jamie McMurray. But in that race, we actually had 2 rollovers. It was Mark Martin in the closing laps, and then Ryan Newman as well. Newman actually landed kind of how he did on Monday, upside down. And NASCAR, they took a look at that car. They said, okay, what can we do to reinforce the roof? And they put a bar across the roof, which is known as the Newman bar, actually, for safety in all these Cup cars that we see here today. And I do believe that helped Newman get out of that crash at least a little bit unscathed as far as that, because that impact from Corey LaJoie at 200 miles an hour, you don't see impacts like that in NASCAR.
As I just now realized, seeing Slay's message, I had my voice on Do Not Allow, so disregard everything I have said up until this point.
Man, I've just been talking to nobody, apparently. I swear I'm not crazy, y'all. There is somebody else in the booth. Hopefully later on tonight, I actually have someone that used to run races and be in the booth with us. Enoch might be joining us later on tonight, so I hope to have him in the broadcast. But now we are at Talladega Superspeedway, moments away from getting the invite here, but excuse me. Let's go to Talladega Superspeedway from one restrictor plate racetrack to another. I am drawing the colors of Ryan Newman because I'm just thinking about you, man. We all are. Let's get this number 6 and pilot it up. Talladega Superspeedway, not going to be the hold your breath that we see at Daytona, thankfully. But this is one of the most exciting races of the year for any league I commentate, because anybody can win it.
Let's go. Absolutely, as long as you have a hold of the draft. It's just about, you have teammates, but a few laps left, depending on who you're around. Your teammates are pretty much out the window, unless one of you are in playoff contention and the other one's not, then you're going to probably help each other out. But I kind of look at it as like you're taking the gloves off with, like, you know, 3 laps to go if you're in that top group, and it's every man for themselves. You'll work with whoever you have to navigate through traffic, get, you know, track position is going to be key in the last few laps. So, I mean, it is an exciting race, always is. All restrictor plates are. There's a lot more room to work with around Talladega compared to Daytona. It's hard to make Daytona 3 wide on this game, but Talladega, forget Daytona, I don't know, whatever I just said, but yeah, Talladega, you can go 3 wide there with the right people, and this group of guys that are going to be on the track tonight, if it comes down to it, they'll be able to manage it. We may see a big 1 or 2 happen if that were to be the case. If one person's on somebody's bumper and that car in front makes a sudden movement, that car behind is going to get basically whiplashed into a different direction. It'll cause all hell. But I imagine probably a good 3/4 of this race, you'll probably see them running around the bottom of the track in a line. I don't know what teams have numbers as far as how many cars on the track they have. Maybe you'll see someone try to jump to the outside and make that work. You and I both know that that outside line is fun if you can get enough people up there and
yes, but often, and that's just not what do you call it, a problem both online but in game, online but in real life as well. Often we see one line get a jump to the other. Why do we often see the outside line non-existent on league racing here?
It just has to do with these custom setups. I believe if this was a default league, you can do a little bit more as far as moving around the track and getting a top line form. But knowing that on this game, you don't need the fastest car. You just need to be able to be in the draft. All these cars can only find so much speed. So once they get to that point, it's pretty much almost a default race. I mean, literally everyone's on an equal playing field. The only difference being, if you're at the tail end of that pack and you're cruising close to 220 going to these turns, that car is not going to turn. You're going to have to let off a little bit just to get the car to rotate. You'll probably see quite a few lap times on the leaderboard after tonight, I would bet.
Talladega Superspeedway, no stranger to great finishes in NASCAR's history. We've seen so many times a last lap pass. I believe actually 5 of the last 8 Talladegas have been decided by a last lap pass. Coming here, back in the fall, it was Ryan and Ryan, so Newman and Ryan Blaney going at it for the start-finish line. Denny Hamlin right behind them, 3 people that were also involved in the finish for this year's Daytona 500. One thing that we haven't talked about, though, as of late, I know you mentioned it there quickly there, T, but it was teams. I don't know if we have enough in this league for specific teams to, you know, go out and dominate, but something that's been talked about lately when we go to Talladega and Daytona are manufacturer loyalty. The Fords are working with the Fords, the Toyotas are working with the Toyotas, the Chevys are working with the Chevys. And we see that tonight.
I can see that because, you know, when I was still racing here with these guys, we did have team chats and we also had manufacturer chats. Well, basically that was your team. We didn't really have, you know, Rouse, Penske, Hendrick. You know, basically it was just manufacturers. I'm not sure if that's still how they do it, but if that is the case, I could definitely see some of these manufacturers lining up together and try to make a move at the end of these stages, because being in the playoffs, stage points are going to be a big deal, especially for these guys that are still in the playoff contention. It'll be interesting, and these guys that aren't in playoff contention, they want to win, and as long as they're in the draft, there's no way that you can be nice to someone without losing the draft. So you want to put yourself in contention.
Your friends are where you find them here at Talladega Superspeedway. No matter what, when the white flag is out, all bets are off. Give you a quick look at tonight's recap, race recap. So you see getting on the pit road here, T, one thing that I did want to talk about just before, that is going to be a problem as well because pit road speed is 55 miles per hour. That is over 100 and at times 50 miles an hour difference in what you're running on the track.
Yeah, I just had a league race last Wednesday at Daytona, and when you are in the draft and you're coming off these turns of 210 plus, your braking points are a little bit different than what they were when you're in practice, and especially if everybody that you're around is pitting at the same time. You want to kind of get fanned out because we all know the pit road on this game is a little glitchy on and off pit road, but I've noticed a lot on at these super speedways. Even if you get fanned out, if that guy is too low, when he finally hits pit road, it'll shove him back up, and if there's something to the outside, it'll throw him into the infield. And I've seen it to where it'll just say, well, you're not on pit road, and well, you have one lap of fuel left, you might not make it back around. I've seen that happen. It is tricky though. Really getting spread out is key getting on the pit road here. You don't want to run over and ruin somebody else's race. You also don't want someone to run you over and ruin your race. It is tricky, but I believe that all these guys, that they have enough common sense to make sure that they don't ruin anybody else's race on purpose. I believe Alex is getting some things set up here.
Oh, my bad. Ready. I thought that my mic was on. I had just closed it. I forgot I was all talking. But we had just gotten a invite, or not invites, excuse me. We've just gotten a message from Slade saying that the invites would be going out in about 10 minutes. So that gives us a little bit of time.
One, will you?
I will.
Whenever you get it, and I'll also send it. And
you know, I actually just got a message from Enoch, and I do want to check that real quick. So I am going to blue screen for just 1 second. If you guys will bear with me. All right, and we are back to the pre-race ceremonies here for the Alabama 500 Midnight Broadcasting Network. So glad you can join us again. Alexander and Ned here, joined by T. I just got bad, unfortunate news, though. Enoch will not be joining us here tonight.
Aww.
So it will just be us two bringing you the live flag-to-flag coverage tonight. But do hope to have him in the booth later on, perhaps in this season, as things start to really heat up as far as the championship race. T, last week we saw Fluffy dominate and add his name to the next round in the playoffs here.
Yeah, not surprised one bit. I wasn't in the booth for that race, but I did hear about it afterwards. He is really good everywhere, but I've seen a lot of people just dominate road courses and odd tracks. Another guy that had just done it, I think the week prior, was Max Boost. He's another guy that's really good at these odd tracks. Now tonight, like we had mentioned earlier, it's anybody's race. As long as you have the draft, you have a chance. get yourself some stage points. You know, don't make mistakes on pit road. Make sure, you know, you pit with the right people, and that way you're not stuck by yourself with no draft when you come off. I'm not sure how much you're going to have to deal with that in the first two stages. Staying on the lead lap shouldn't be too hard, but I believe, you know, if we have, and I believe we will have green flag pit stops in that third stage, you're definitely going to want at least 2 drafting partners, if not more than that, just to be able to keep in touch with anyone around you.
That is very true. We often talk about how if you can start your engine here at Talladega Superspeedway, you have a chance to get to victory lane. It's called the Great Equalizer because anybody can win this race, and I truly mean that. How many times have we seen people get their first ever career win in the NASCAR Cup Series at this racetrack? I believe the last person to do so here was, let me think, was it... Oh man, the last person to get their first win, I want to say it might have been Brad Keselowski back in 2009. I know Brian Vickers also did it back in 2006 as well. That was a fun finish, and maybe not so much for you junior fans out there. But that would be his first ever career win. But I do know, I don't have the stat offhand, that NASCAR Cup Series notoriously puts first-time winners in victory lane at Talladega Superspeedway.
Super speedways in general. I mean, you've seen it at Daytona. I mean, last year, even though during the July race, the rain delay doesn't come out, does that really happen? But either way, first-time winner. You've seen Trevor Bayne
crazy
win
things
for the first time.
Exactly. David Reagan got his first win, and another exciting finish I saw also had Reagan win, I believe, 2013. That was a great finish, with Front Row Motorsports getting their first ever win. Both him and David Gilliland scoring a 1-2 finish for that race team.
It's unpredictable. You know, as long as, you know, caution doesn't come out at the end, whoever is paired up with a couple people, because it'll get spread out after pit stops, but whoever has the numbers, you might see some people make a humongous run towards the end of it. But if we have a late race caution, which I'm not saying I want to see it, but when you have all these packed cars together, you know, at the end of a race, man, it is so exciting. Certain things will happen, people get upset, but hey, it's playoff racing, man. Intensity is going to be high pretty much most of this race. More certainly in the third stage. I'm not really sure how long the stages are tonight. I haven't really looked that up.
And, you know, actually, I'm about to take a look at that here real quick because we have the ability to do so. But let's take a look at tonight's quick race settings presented to you by NASCAR Heat 4. Again, 50%. These guys are all in a custom race setup here. But thankfully, you have the benefit of the draft. That is going to play the great equalizer. That's going to allow teams that we don't perhaps talk about as much show their way up to the front, and we'll see what they do. Can they hang on once they get there? Difficulty, again, 105. Full damage will be on. You better stay out of the big one. It's not a question of if, but when it happens, will you be collected? 2 times the tire and fuel wear will actually get you guys the correct, at least stage 1 count, and the fuel window for these guys. Tires we don't often talk about here at Talladega Superspeedway, so that does play a mixed into the strategy that we could see from these players tonight if you decide to take 4 tires or if you decide to take 2. I also, remind me there, T, I do want to ask you about strategy when it comes to the end of these stages as well here, if I get the chance. All of these will be on we do have these as relaxed yellow. The yellow flag could come out. However, if there's a big enough crash, these guys will race to the start-finish line and then be placed under a manual yellow if the game is not triggered by an in-game yellow. They are just completing qualifying right now. And let's go ahead and get you that lap count for stage 1 and the fuel window for the race. I'm just actually going to go and cycle in. Let's do it. T, who do you like here tonight as far as their chances of winning for MBN?
Any of them. Any of them that are up front towards the end. I'm not making a pick tonight because literally like we've mentioned multiple times already, literally anybody can win this race. If you are there at the end, you have a chance.
All right. Well, if we don't like picking somebody, what do you think is the best winning strategy here? Do you hang out up front all night, or do we see people kind of lay back toward the end and try to save the race car because damage is going to be on?
Like I had mentioned previously again, I believe in the first 2 stages, you're going to see these guys filter down to the bottom of the track in a straight line. They're probably going to run around maybe till the, 3-4 laps left in the stage. Maybe you'll see some people make some moves. But I also believe that most of these guys are going to be content to just sit where they're at as long as they're in the draft. And if somebody does make a move, say one of these non-playoff drivers, say, you know what, screw it. They want to take a shot to the outside, and somebody else says, all right, me too. And you get quite a few of them. But as far as the third stage goes, like I mentioned, I had a race at Daytona last Wednesday. We didn't have any cautions, so if I'm looking back on that, and I know this race is a little bit shorter, not by much, but a little bit. All you need to take is bare amount of fuel. No tires in the first stage. Pit after the first stage. Take 4. When you have to pit, if you have to, if there's no cautions, you don't have to take tires then. But in the third stage, you're looking at 2 to 3 pit stops, I believe.
Well, we do understand that I just got that information actually for you, and the fuel window when they start a race will be 19 laps. Stage 1, we know, will be 27, so these guys could be able to make it on about 20. And if you're in the draft, something that's a benefit to you versus the leader is that you can save a little bit of fuel going half throttle.
Oh, you can save a ton. After we cycled through our last pit stops last Wednesday, I ran in the pack, middle of the pack, half throttle. I saved 2 laps over the course of 10 fuel. So if you have a wheel, it is much easier to save fuel if you have a wheel and pedals than you do a controller. So that is an advantage to them guys. However, I did see somebody who sat in front of the line way too long. They didn't have enough to make it to the end. You're definitely going to want to cycle out of line if you feel like you're going to be short, because everyone behind you is going to be 3/4 to half quarter throttle. Wow, we got a big field tonight, man.
Yeah, we do. Unlike what we saw last week at the Roval, I think that could have played a factor into maybe why we didn't see such a full house there. But Talladega Superspeedway, if you don't think you have a chance of winning, just take a look at the roster here that we give you in just a couple of minutes. Everybody in actually, you know what? My grandma just signed up for this race, so I'm telling you, anybody can win it.
Would you wreck her for a win?
Oh, you know what? She's Tony Stewart right there. I would. And I'd wreck my own grandma to get my first race.
I had to.
Look, guys, we are just moments away from getting the green flag here. You're watching me do some racing offline in the AI, and I do like the AI here in this game. You can see how you have people working with you. One another as a drafting partner, Logano, Keselowski. Those are my boys anyway here. Not trying to be biased or anything, but
I'm surprised you're not mad at Logano after yesterday.
You'll often hear it, and I'm pretty sure you'll hear somebody tonight here just say it's a product of this type of racing here. You're trying to help that guy up front. You're trying to shove your line forward. So I think that was more of a racing deal. I think what we saw in the clash was a little bit more of somebody with a bad block than what that was that we transpired in the backstretch there.
Air down below, can't catch a chance. Or can't catch a break. And I tell you what, I don't know what Joey was thinking pushing that hard, knowing that his teammate was ahead of that car. I'm sure he had that information. Invites are to go to the race. Got one outside now.
Continue to see me work my way up to the front mid-pack from 40th. Not too bad. Again, we do know 19 laps is the fuel window for tonight's race. It'll be 94 laps. The first stage only 27. I think that second stage a little bit longer, 29, and then 50 or so laps for the end in stage 3. All these guys will have to make a pit stop in each one of those stages. You can ride on board with Justin Mons in the number 9 car. That is on YouTube. Just go ahead and search MBN Justin Mons. You'll be able to tag along, and he will be our in-race reporter as far as giving us the fuel and window count and lap count for tonight's race.
Is Kepper not racing?
You know, I've not been able to look, so I'll take a look and see that. But guys, one thing that we don't want to see tonight that often rears its ugly head is the big one.
There's no doubt in my mind that by the end of this race, you're going to see it. I mean, I'm not even being the bearer of bad news. That's just how this kind of racing goes, especially this being in the playoffs. I think you're going to see some people make some moves that typically they wouldn't do if, you know, say this was in the middle of the regular season.
Well, and to play devil's advocate, maybe this is the point of the season where we see people do these moves a lot more because more is on the line and you're more willing to take that risk versus staying in the back of the pack.
Well, I tell you, there's a couple guys in here that had just done a Daytona race last Wednesday, like I mentioned. They have a little bit of Superspeedway experience over the last week, not just in general, but just in the last week, so it's still fresh. Celtics is one of them. Fluffy, that's another one. Trying to figure out. Let's see who else is up there. Either way, all these guys, they know what they're doing. It is a large field, but I think this should be pretty fun. It'll definitely be fun watching them getting cycled out, watching someone try to find room, a gap that's not there, maybe pour someone down the apron, because that does happen. Sometimes you can't see everything.
And you will get shuffled out, like I just shuffled out Hamlin right there. And while we're on that note, there was a lot of talk, at least a little bit, on the celebration of Hamlin in regards to his Daytona 500, the third Daytona 500 win here, and him celebrating that win with the severity of the injuries to Newman. I do want to say that just like Dale Jr. did, I believe, on NASCAR Countdown on NBC, those guys, it's a big track. You celebrate the one, if not the biggest win of your life that defines you as a NASCAR driver. Hamlin had no idea what Newman had gone through, and to sit there and to accuse him, I just think that's just a bad part of being a fan. I don't believe Hamlin knew at all, and he's gone on to say that publicly, and I hope people can see that.
Brother, I love NASCAR just as much as the next person, but I will tell you right now, as many NASCAR races I've been to, we do have some of the most boneheaded fans that I have ever come across as humans. But just as many that, you know, in a campground over the weekend, you know, you speak to them on a regular basis, you know, regardless if they live, you know, the entire country away. You and I, even though we've never been to a race together, we share the same common ground as, you know, we love the sport. And I appreciate you. I consider you a great friend, a brother, and you live, you know, several thousand miles away from me. So it's like, you know, I will say the fact that they did release a statement last night, and then he even said that, you know, once the race was over, and, you know, they did all their small radio communication, he's getting ready to go celebrate, he unplugged his radio. Yeah. He had no clue how bad that wreck was. And I wanted to see either Ryan win the race. I like Denny, I like the Yodas, but I wanted to see somebody who hasn't won it before, somebody that's been a while that hasn't won it. And, but for people to just like try to tarnish him over that to me was just silly. You know, as soon as that it hit him in victory lane, that whole party was done.
It's the big one. Sorry, it just crashed right before we got the invites there.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. We have a full house here tonight. Again, so glad you can join us. I just got word that we will be honoring Ryan Newman here with a pace lap right before we go green. So we will take this moment once to join in, and I'll explain more.
I'm already here, and here they go.
Are you able to watch Justin Mon's screen at least on YouTube?
Yeah, I already got it up. It does not look like Keffer is racing tonight. Either that or he is just not streaming. I know he was busy tonight from what I heard earlier, but we got the 6 car out front leading the car around.
And again, all of our thoughts right now are with Ryan Newman and his family. This is a family sport. I don't know what it's like because I don't have a loved one that goes and straps in and puts himself in harm's way for our enjoyment, for 500 miles each Sunday. I followed this sport, again, since 2000. It is something I love. And you really, as a race car driver, you have to put on this, cloak. I read somewhere on Twitter tonight, you have a cloak of invincibility. Like, these guys go on, they strap themselves in, and they put that that is the farthest thing from their mind. To them, there's another day at the office. So last Monday night, yesterday night, was a true reminder of these guys and what can happen in the blink of an eye and how dangerous this sport is. And from all of us here at Midnight Broadcasting Network, we are thinking about you, Ryan Newman, and we will fall silent.
Like we're going to get ourselves into order now after that lap. You nailed it on the head, brother. I can't stand the people that tried to say that NASCAR isn't a sport. What these guys endure, what their bodies endure throughout the course of a race, especially in the blazing hot summer days at certain tracks. These guys are just as much athletes as, NFL players, hockey players, baseball players, etc. The list goes on. It does not take away from what they do on a weekly basis. And obviously we all hope that we see Ryan back in the car as soon as possible. If he does hang it up, I wouldn't blame him. I don't know. He has been around for quite a while. I just don't see him hanging it up just yet. We'll see, though. Don't want to speculate anything before we hear it from a reliable source. So main thing is we just hope that his recovery is full and awesome, and that he can continue to live his life, be a badass father, badass race car driver, and just continue doing what he does. I believe we're going to take the green flag here.
All right, race number 2 about to be underway for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. Talladega Superspeedway, man. This is it. They're through the Geico Restart Zone. 92 laps. Hold your breath. The green flag is out. We're racing at Talladega.
Jay Hyper with a great start.
That did take away 2 laps already So these guys might be able to, it's never too early to start thinking about fuel strategy there, T. As we see that outside line get some momentum in the 32, get pushed by the 95 of Bear and Slade already.
DK and Bear, they're going to be 3 wide here going into turn 3. Never mind, we're good to go. Bear cleared Jay Hyper. Slade got left out there. That was a pretty strong move by Bear and DK.
Sevi working with a Toyota right there. A bow tie. Behind them in a Ford up front. First time at speed, where it takes them about a lap and a half to truly get up to the full speed. But once they do so, they travel the length of a football field a second. Inside line with the advantage so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And on these restarts, that is how it goes. They're going to have to cycle down to the bottom and then rely on some people midway through the field to the back end of it to see if somebody wants to go up and try to make a move. But yeah, they're all going to be down the bottom by the end of the next lap or two.
So much of this race is high speed, it's high pace. We're at Talladega, so that doesn't surprise me. But what are you doing if you're one of these front cars up front? Oh, car on the wall! Slade sliding through the infield, out of control, single car incident. And Slade, one of those guys fighting for his position in the next round, early trouble at Talladega.
Doesn't look like he has much damage on it, but I see him smack that outside wall. He might have a little bit of right side damage, but the hood looks intact. Oh man, that hurts. He's gonna struggle to stay on the lead lap now, knowing that pretty much everybody else is there in a draft and he has none.
And that hurts in more ways than one as well. Not only is he outside of the draft, but no chance of getting those precious stage points needed at the end of these stages. He is all the way back in last place, 22nd by himself.
I wish we had replay here. We go back and see what happened. I kind of see him stutter on that middle line, and then next thing you know, I just seen him in the wall and then spinning through the grass. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. He got shuffled back in a hurry off that start, but I don't know if he tried to fit it in somewhere where there wasn't space, or if oh, and then DK washes up and we got a new change for the lead. He's going to get washed back to the back now. The Bears going to take the lead with Mike RPM right behind him.
Outside line beginning to take form there, closer to the front. Excuse me as I try to get back up there. See the 13 and Galen running along in third place there. The 32 who had taken the lead on lap 1 now shuffled out. And we talk about how if you're the only car to the outside, it's a long way to the back.
Yep, and even then you want to get down as quick as possible. Even though DK is going to be lucky because he's got another pack behind him to push him. But if there was no one else behind him, sometimes there's a good chance for him to lose the draft because these guys are going so much faster than what you are when you're on the outside all by yourself.
Right now it's Bear continuing to lead this freight train, and that second pack that we saw now able to get joined back up. The link in that missing change was the 32 car. Looked like he's been able to provide a little bit of draft to the 1 car. And now that's DWH and that outside line starting to mount a charge. They all the way went to the outside. They were at the 32 car. Now they're at the 48.
I tell you
looking
what,
for more.
I didn't expect to see this so soon, but considering that there was a little bit of gap between that first group and that second group, I'm loving seeing this because I do see a little bit of squirreliness in this inside line, which is going to break up their momentum. And as long as this outside line can stay intact, which they're getting a little squirrely now, if they can stay intact, they're going to get these runs. And I tell you what, this isn't exactly what they're coming in a hurry. They are on their way. They have places to go.
Yeah, that inside line there, they have the benefit of the double yellow line, which we'll talk about here later on in this race. But I mentioned that because that really is kind of a boundary line that these guys can use when they go into the turn. When you're on the outside line, you're trying to judge where your car can go on the outside. As we see the 3C Workman work his way up to the outside as well. And that outside line beginning to truly take form. They're all the way up to the third position, side by side, the 13 and 3 for third.
Woo, they had to check up, and that's another thing. The only two cars in these lines that need to be hooked up is first and second car in line. If you got to be giving people in front of you space going into these turns if you're not one of them two cars, because I think Mike RPM's lagging and the Bear.
He did right there.
That's none of this.
Going to allow that outside line. Now they're side by side, led by Marcus Edub in the 17 car. Rouse Fenway racing there. You see Fluffy in the 6 car as well. And right now I'm seeing people, they're not dependent on what manufacturer. Right now it's just pushing what line you're in. T, how much of a struggle is it to lead that outside line?
Well, it just depends on who you have behind you and how straight of a line you can hold. Obviously, being somebody that runs controller and wheel, if I'm in the front of the line, I want to be on my wheel because I can feel what's going on my bumper. You can kind of see the car doing whatever it's trying to do when it happens. But if you're on a controller, it is a little bit harder to hold a line around this track, and I think Marcus is on a controller, so I believe that maybe that he got a feel for it. He's still in this pack. Ooh, we just seen somebody in the wall.
Right now, the top lane has all but disappeared, and you see that inside line now have the advantage. You see Workman up with the 24 car. That's Jobs. They have not been able to do anything with the 95 and the 43. In fact, the 24 car all by himself on the outside lane.
Yeah, something happened back there. Someone got in the wall and then come back down, kind of broke up the entire momentum. But they're going to get back together, and I imagine that we'll see somebody try to make a move. We see two of them on the outside right now. Those numbers are just not going to work compared to what you still have left on the bottom. I think a lot of that move that we did see from the outside line, find a pocket to get to the inside, gain your track position, because track position means stage points at this point in time.
Well, keep in mind these guys are going to have a green flag pit stop to have to do in stage 1. They were able to take off 2 laps under caution there when we went to manual with that tribute lap to Ryan Newman in the 6 car, who Fluffy has already worked his way up the 4th, and he's got to be the only guy that could breathe a sigh of relief because he's already into the next round based on his win at the Roval last week.
Yeah, and the Bear, I know he missed a race while he was on a race or 2 while he was on vacation. He definitely wants to win this one. I do love that paint scheme, one of my favorite ones in the game.
You see the 3 Steve Workman right there shuffled out of line, no drafting help. He'll fall back in line. They are still single file. It has been the 95 car and the 43 working nose to tail with one another. The 13, he seems to be content. And Fluffy in that 6 car pushed by the 14. Excuse me, that is the 10. Right behind him, that is your top 5.
I believe that you're going to see a lot of this, what you just seen from C Workman. These guys that might be like a 10th or so between the guy in front of them, when they get that run, you're going to see them like right there. You're going to see a lot of these guys try to take that chance to see who's going to work with them. And those people that do go with you, hey, maybe at the end of the race,
big run coming from the 32 right there, side by side for 5th place. But didn't look like Workman was able to get to the back bumper. He has Justin Mons in the 9 car working with him. But now, again, that outside line, it just seems to stall out. We haven't been able to see anybody truly work their way up and make a significant pass for the lead. They've gotten as close as 3rd, but then the momentum just seems to go away.
Well, you and I both know, I know how much you love the outside line, especially when we're just doing pub default lobbies. I love going out there, and they just got to find the right numbers.
Oh, and here comes the challenge.
Here we
43
go.
car to the outside as well. Looks like he went up the block. Thought better of it. Goes back downstairs. Some run by the 32 car. Ooh, a little bit of contact, and they're 3 wide all of a sudden. I think someone's about to pit. Yep, the leaders are going in. That was the 95 of Bear. Side by side, and you see what it's done, the energy has picked up in this front pack. The 43 car
hell
now
did he
led
not
by
get
the
ran
13
over?
and the 32 car to the outside as well. 95 pitting by himself. That's something we typically don't see at Talladega and Daytona there, T. Why is that?
Maybe he's trying to. I'm not sure. Maybe he's splitting the stage in half, which doesn't make no sense because I'm sure he's in a chat with some other guys. But the fact that he made that move so suddenly and nobody else ran him over, props to the field and him for making that work, because that could have been disastrous.
Well, and we often talk about how when you're the leader, you do use a lot of fuel. So could that be why we saw the 95 pit by himself? He had been leading all those laps. Did he not have enough fuel that these guys behind him have been able to use the draft to save?
Surely he's not out of fuel yet. I'm not sure what's going on there in the 95 camp. I can't wrap my head around why the hell he's
by himself right now with the 21, but
yeah, I'm not sure. And that outside line still, DK Brown has got to run. He's pulling that outside line with him. I tell you what, I'm not sure what was going on there.
And look at that 3-car. See, contact and around hard, hit into the outside wall. The 48 is in it. The 2-car was damaged, lag from the 3. Does that place us under caution?
That was lag from the 32. The front car in line, DK Brown, just literally murdered the entire outside line.
You see most of the field now strung out because of that Wi-Fi connectivity issues on one of these cars, almost causing the first big crash of the day, and the caution does not come out. Major damage to the 48 car on that.
I would not be surprised if they race back to the line or, just wait to the end of the stage. But that was pretty significant. I know nobody really went around, but, man, some people got really boogered up there.
And damage is on, so if this does stay green, you have some of these guys are going to have to pit and fix this damage. That could play a factor into how these guys are let back on the lead lap. If anybody goes a lap down here, we'll see if they're going to put a manual caution. I'm not sure. It looks like we are still under green, so that, unfortunately, a lot of these guys have damage. They're going to have to fix that under green, which adds more time to their pit stop, and that's less time that they're going to be out on the racetrack.
Yeah, now basically Bear's going to have to fight because, with that accident, maybe he will have someone to draft with, but he's still got a group of 6 up here up front, and I just don't see... You're not going to see a 3v3 with these guys here, I don't think. These guys are going to ride it out until they have to pit, and they're probably going to catch some of these guys.
You see the 95 right on the edge of your screen right there if we get a shot down the backstretch. The 95 is working with the 21 of Slade. Slade has not been down to pit road yet after that early issue on lap number 3 that sent him to the outside wall through the middle of the tri-oval. Right now you're seeing what is left after a major lag issue coming out of the 32 that all but destroyed this lead pack. Thankfully, everyone was able to continue on, but some cars have major damage, and we do expect the whole field to still make a green flag pit stop here.
Yeah, we're going to be pitting the next 3 to 5 laps. We're going to be seeing green flag pit stops, and I believe we're only going to see fuel and maybe right side tires, depending on how their setup is. I was able, with my setup, to make it the whole way through the stage. There's only 7 laps left here in the stage, so yeah, you're not taking tires. Unless we
looks
see
like
the
some of these guys are signaling
RPM.
to go down pit road right there. When you dip your car below that double yellow line, that signals these drivers that they are planning on hitting pit road this time by. So right now, you need not to run over your other competitors. You see Celtics fan looks like he's going to stay to the outside as well. 13's going to go in. Contact between him and the 43, but they are able to gather it up. The 6 and the 11.
Oh, we got a big wreck.
Crash coming onto pit road. It happens every time, and that is going to trigger the yellow flag. Justin Mons with major front end damage.
Oh my goodness.
How does this shake up the field?
Caution is out, but the guys that were already on pit road are going to catch a break.
Yeah, they are,
Wow.
but these guys look at the front end of the 9. And we've talked about this in our countdown race to green, how getting onto pit road, you're going 200 miles an hour to 55. This is often the result. Major damage to the 9. You see the 24. The 6 and the 11, they had not made their way onto pit road, so this is going to hurt them as well because the guys that were able to, I believe that whole front pack, are going to be able to stay out. This could play into the hands of the 95 car there, T, because he pitted by himself, and he did not go a lap down.
Well, it looked like he was pitting, but he chose to not pit there at the very end as it counted down.
How many laps to go in the stage, do we know?
Yes, let me get up front here.
Like the 4 car.
We are looking
BC Racer Kid. Up
3
front.
laps to go in stage 1.
There are only 3 laps to go in stage 1. And the inside line getting a shove from the 95 of Bear and the 48, who's been able to make up some significant ground after being involved in that lag restart a couple of laps ago.
And BC, someone we haven't talked about tonight, he was the inaugural winner of Midnight Broadcasting Network at our first season of last year when he took away the 500. We know he's good at these super speedways. He's good at managing fuel as we come to 2 to go.
2 to go. Pit road is closed this time by, and you see a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field. BC Racer Kid pushed by the 43 of Mike RPM, who knows how to make some dramatic finishes. Each of his close finishes have been less than 1/1000th of a second. Don't count out that 43 at the 4. BC Racer Kid off pace and offline, and he'll give the lead to the 43 car. Outside line with the advantage now. Coming down the backstretch, here comes the 95 and the 10 working with one another. I don't know why the 4 BC Racer Kid, is he out of fuel? That is a story that we'll have to follow, but right now that all played into the hands of the 95 of Bear, coming to the white flag in stage number 1.
He's not out of fuel. I'm not sure. Maybe it's some sort of strategy. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing.
Oh, slicing and dicing. See DWH in that 1 car get loose off the corner. This is the last lap of stage 1. Bear being pushed by the 10. Here's Fluffy. Couple of Fords working nose to tail right behind the Toyota of Bear. Mike RPM up to 4th, pushed by Max Boost in the 27. Look at Slade trying to make something happen there. He's rebounded nicely. You see that outside line just not going to give up, it looks like. Here comes Mike RPM with a shove to the outside. Help from the 48. It's not going to be enough at the stripe. Bear by a nose. 10 car second, 43 of Mike RPM third, and we are under the second caution of the night here at Talladega.
I tell you what, that was a hell of a move by Mike RPM to get that 1 extra spot there in the stage. And I think you're probably going to see maybe fuel here. I don't know if we see tires.
Well, these guys they just pitted here 3 laps ago, and I believe a lot of those guys took that to, 1, fix the damage that they got under that caution, but 2, use that so that perhaps they don't need to spend a lot of time under caution here. So I do think we see a variety strategy, maybe just 2 tires and a top off on the fuel can.
Yeah, I agree with that. Track position is going to be key. You want to be out front. You don't want to be in the middle. Back isn't too bad if, as long as you know where the brake pedal is, if a big accident does happen. That way you don't get that damage. But here we go, stage 2. Oh, it looks like
already changing lanes. Down. Maybe a little bit of manufacturer loyalty going on there. The Chevys working with one another. I am impressed by the run of Slade. He's able to rebound from that earlier issue in stage 1. He's already up to 2nd place. And again, that inside line with the advantage as it takes these guys about a lap and a half to get up to speed.
Mike RPM showed a strong car all night. Slade finally rebounding from whatever the heck it was that happened there that got him in the wall and then into the grass there in the trioval early in the stage 1.
Someone who did not get a good restart and is falling back quickly is that 48 car, Max Boost. No drafting help. Him and the 32 are traveling way back. Oh, out of line. That was Marcus Edub in the 17 car. Looks like he gathers it back up. And I'm seeing quite a bit of side-by-side motion out of that 17 car. Perhaps some lag issues as he goes to the outside. No one really following him.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be what it was.
Right along on board with the 21. Taking a look up high from the Goodyear blimp. You see the 13 car. Wow, just that little bit of contact, how it was able to just stop the 19 progress in its tracks. Outside line again, now falling back. You see the Sloppy Joe, who won the Daytona 500 for this league. All the way back, just outside of the top 10. I believe that's a battle for 13th right there. All right, thank you so much there, T. See you back here in just a few minutes. Wow. This all happening at over 200 miles an hour. Slade now pushed by Galen in the 95. Bear, who was the stage 1 winner, falling back on that cycle of pit stops and has yet to make a charge. Right along with some of these guys in the back of the pack. Jay Hyper, who won the pole, riding along single file, and right here, it might just seem like these guys are just now, look to the outside, the 95 of Bear poking out. 43 of Mike RPM as well. Do they have any more takers? Outside line, you see the 12. Now in the middle, 3 of C Workman and the 8. These are RCR cars, teammates working with one another. Haven't talked about C Workman, but he is running a tribute scheme to Dale Earnhardt as we see a little bit of checkup. Wow, the 11 of Celtics fan had a moment right there on the right corner panel of the 48. Gathers it back up. Meanwhile, back to that story here, the 3 car was 19 years ago to the day that we suffered the loss of Dale Earnhardt, arguably our sport's biggest icon. C Workman paying tribute to the man in black. That man in black has won at this racetrack 10 times. He holds the record. Outside line with some momentum there. 43 car continuing to lead this pack. And now you see a lot of shuffle and commotion. Fords working together on the outside. That is the 22. And here comes the 21 of Slade. He sees that in his rear view mirror. He'll go to the outside and try and pick up the draft. See the 13 is Galen try to swing out there. Use the side draft to his advantage. Wow, where did Team Penske come all of a sudden? That is Diesel, help from the 12 and the 32. And they are making a charge for it. They have completed the pass. All 3 Fords to the lead. Ooh, looks like Titans in the 10 car has lagged out. Story will follow up later on. I'm impressed by the momentum led by the 22, the 12, and the 32. Looked like Team Penske came here, and Team Penske has won 5 of the last 8 Talladega fall races, so they know how to get it done. They won here back in the fall of 2019 with Ryan Blaney in that 12 car. Outside line beginning to stall out just a little bit as you see the 22 and the 12 work together. They have their unofficial teammate, that is the 21 of Slade, who's looking to rebound there from an earlier issue in stage 1. He did not get any stage points, and that could hurt him later on, as he is one of those drivers we're trying to keep an eye on in a bid for a second championship. Three Fords up front, followed by the Chevy of Galen in that 13 car, kind of in enemy's territory, and BC Racer Kid, who, for whatever reason, got off the pace on that last lap, has been able to rebound. Now that outside line beginning to take shape. You saw both Penske go, oh, contact, and in the wall goes the 21. Check up mid-pack, car in the wall, that's the one, and more contact, hard hit. The 9 of Justin Mons around the back stretch. The 17 of Marcus Edub, and the yellow is out. Grinding crash out of turn number 4. Marcus Edub, I don't know exactly what happened right there, but he, through the misfortune of the 21 who had bounced into the outside wall, there was just nowhere to go. They were 4 wide. This track is plenty big enough to handle that, but when you have competitors jockeying for position right there, that is often the result, and we are under our 3rd money line caution tonight for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. This will effectively take out fuel strategy for the stage. They will be able to, everybody I expect, to go down pit road right here and take 4 tires and fuel. Some of those guys longer than others, including, you see the 9 and the 17 and the 1, all with an issue there that brought out the money line caution. Track is clear. Pace car is off. They're through the Geico restart zone. We're back to racing at Talladega. Again, we follow the 21 of Slade, who really needs to pick up some valuable stage points here. He has not gotten any, and that further issue put him even further back in the pack. Oh, contact mid-pack. You see Jay Hyper in the 8. And we have a battle for the lead. The 95 way up the racetrack right there, and upstairs, Mike RPM will take the lead away from him, and here comes the 3 of C. Workman with him. On board with the 14 of Jay Hyper. See that inside line. I can't tell you how it is so hard to make sure you, 1, aren't running over the guy in front of you, but 2, don't get run over yourself. Welcome back there, T. I think I heard you right there. We had one earlier issue involving the 21. He got into the outside wall and it stacked up the field, kind of the accordion effect, and a 3-car incident that brought out the caution. Oh, a lot of lag. You see, wow, they check up, and in the grass goes the 11 of Celtics fan. Can he save it? He does. I don't know why there was a checkup between the teammates of the 4 of BC Racer Kid and the 14 of Jay Hyper, but unfortunately the 11 car of Celtics fan becomes a victim of it. Hyper now out of line.
I imagine everybody's good at the end here for this stage.
Yeah, if you could give me a lap count, as we are 3 wide mid-pack. See the 2 and the 9.
The 21 gets bunched up again. I think he keeps getting behind somebody who's lagging. Or either that or he's like, oh, 32 just puts the 9 in the wall here.
Yeah, these Fords they were able to work well enough to take the lead. But besides that, we have seen some trouble out of that Ford camp.
We have 10 laps to go here in stage 2.
10 laps to go. I want to talk about strategy there, T. Something that we were unable to do so with that first caution in stage 1. Talladega is big, and I mentioned that because you can travel the length around here about 45 seconds, but when you go down pit road, unlike other 1.5 mile or even short tracks that we go to, you can make a green flag pit stop here without losing a lap. We know that NASCAR closes pit road with 2 to go in the stage. Do we see any of these guys try to take control of the restart by pitting early in stage 2 with 2 laps to go?
Well, yeah, if any of the guys that are in search of some major playoff points, if you're outside of getting any playoff points, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But at the same time, you also don't want to get shuffled out. Because, I mean, with that caution that had just happened while I was away, these guys that did take 4 under caution, their tires are probably all roughly around 90%. So maybe come down for, you know, top off, and then you know, maybe, I don't know. There's so many things you can do, but it looks like this outside line is really starting to try to do something now.
4 fourths on that outside line, and the lone Toyota of Bags trying to make that outside work again. But they have to contend against the Chevrolets that are on the bottom. You see 5 of them there. Mike RPM with C. Workman, Galen Jobs in the 48 car, as well as the 95 of Bear. So right now we have 70 versus 4. The Toyota's unable to break through. And they continue to try and make that outside line work. Coming to 8 to go in the stage. And I am impressed by C. Workman in that 3 car. You know, you have a name like Earnhardt, you better be up front here at Talladega.
Alright. I'll be back in about 10, 15 minutes. I'll be able to catch the...
Could you tell me real quick what the lap count was as they went by? I just want to make sure.
7 to go.
7 to go.
Alright, I'll be right back, brother.
Thanks so much. 7 laps to go here at Talladega. You are not going to miss a thing. We will go NASCAR nonstop. I'll keep the action on the 3 car. I just have to go get a drink of water real quick to bring you the action. Coming to 6 to go this next time by. Welcome back from that NASCAR nonstop. Action is picking up. Business is picking up for the end of stage 2 for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. See that outside line? It looked like it had an advantage so far, but people are bailing out, including the 17 of Marcus Edub, who was involved in our last caution, able to rebound there inside the top 10, as well as the 21 of Slade, who now crosses over. He'll ditch that outside line as well. Justin Mons on the outside, no drafting help. Nope. Now he has some. Looks like the one of DWH is going to get some help from the 21. On board with the 17 car, you can really get a sense of why these guys are moving the way they are. It is not just a single file line right here. You see a lot of them dancing, and that's where we find the trouble, and sometimes that accordion effect. Wow, that 17 car all over the back bumper of the 48. And I tell you that as a competitor myself, you feel that in your controller or on your wheel. 4 to go. Inside line still with the advantage so far. It has been Mike RPM who is challenging, I believe, the 95 for what will be most laps led here at Talladega. C. Workman looks like he's staying faithful to the back bumper of that machine. And that inside line continuing to have the advantage out of turn 4. 3 to go. Oh, a little bit of lag right there, but no one is going to be affected by it. And that outside line, this time they have the numbers, led by DWH. See if we can get up there. He got pushed to the outside, a block by the 43, make the 3 wide down the backstretch. Can you block 3 lanes? The 43 cannot. Look at him, 3 by 3 by 3, all the way through turn 3 and 4. Mike went up to block that advance by the 1 car and shuffled out that outside lane, and the 3 of C Workman able to gather it up, and now he is the leader. See a lot of these guys outside of the draft right here. Our attention still focusing up front. Business is still picking up. 2 to go, and pit road is closed. So that strategy that T and I talked about there, not going to play a factor toward the end of this one. See Galen in that 13 for Chevrolets, working nose to tail right now, led by the 3 of C Workman. 1 to go in the stage. Single file now, everyone using the inside line to their advantage. The 13 car took a look. Is he a friend or foe on this, the final lap of stage 2? Here comes the 21. He bobbled out. Looks like the 6 car, Fluffy, was unable to get there. Hendrick Motorsports now running along at 3rd and 4th. Do they have something as they get a little bit of daylight? You see the 24, Jobs, help from his teammate, the 48 car, to the outside. Inside line, though, still with the advantage. Fluffy to the inside as well. That spoils the party for the 24 car. 13 of Galen, a little bit of contact. On the apron is the the 6 car. 4 and 5 wide behind the pack. Green and white checkers are out. Stage 2 is complete, and the 3 of C Workman will get it in front of the field. That was an unfortunate move made by the 6 car of Fluffy there. Good thing he is already in based on his win from last week, because he missed out on a lot of points. But some heads-up driving right there. He did not go back up and create a bigger issue than whatever that was that sent him below the yellow line. We are under caution here for the 4th time today for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. Pit stops are next. All right, the 3rd and final stage underway. Have not yet seen the big one. These guys will have to make one more green flag pit stop in their quest for a trophy here at Talladega. Green flag back out. Crash in the backstretch. Multiple cars are involved. The 4 BC Racer Kid. You see the 11 Celtics fan. The 2 of Smoke. That sounded like a lag gone wrong. And we are immediately under caution for the first time in stage 3. Sloppy Joe in the 8 car involved. DK Brown rebounded nicely in that 32. Big D Destroyer, I think he was able, oh, maybe not. I was going to say get the lead there, but looks like C Workman still has it. Looks like the 17 car, that may have been where we saw the lag and why that last crash began. Green flag is back out, less than 50 to go. Inside line again with the advantage so far, but the 43, Mike RPM, he made one wrong move that cost him the stage. Did he learn from it? And will he get a shove back to the lead? So far, he'll need a little bit more help. Man, I am impressed. Oh, car on the wall out of the tri-oval. Oh, and a crash again. They are crashing big time. Jay Hyper, the 12 is in it, the 22. Diesel involved, and the yellow flag is out again. That happened right on the edge of our screen. I saw a yellow car hit the wall on the exit of the tri-oval. And something that we don't typically talk about here at Talladega Superspeedway, the tri-oval can oftentimes be the most treacherous part of this 2.66 mile racetrack. You have a turn with less banking. That means the car is not settled in, as we see these guys on turns 2 and 3 and 4. The tri-oval has a kink to it, and that could really set a car out of shape. This is beginning to get into the run. I don't believe these guys can still make it. We know 19 laps is about what these guys can make it, but we did see some shuffling there because of that. Some people taking advantage of this caution, including the 3C Workman. He is now in the back of the pack. Which of these guys has enough fuel to make it into their pit window for the final stop here at Talladega Superspeedway? The green flag is back out after a rash of yellow fever at Talladega. Well, we're on board with the 19 car back, and you see a little bit of checkup. So often, that can cause an accordion effect and become an issue in the back of the pack, but it looks like we are able to make it through. Still hearing some lag. Here comes DWH leading a charge on that outside lane. He thinks better of it. The 21 of Slade will pick up the 95 of Bear. 3 wide in the back of the pack, 2 wide up front. It is go time. And the 8 car who was involved on that first crash to begin stage 3 already up inside the top 5. Dalen out front. Ooh, looked like the 19 car briefly thought about making a move. Here comes the 48, a max boost as well. Car on the apron, that is BC Racer Kid again. He will trail along. Hopefully he will not lose the grasp. The 48 car looks like he is not content to just ride around behind, but that could cost him, as he is now on the outside looking for help from his teammates, but none is there. Inside line so far with the advantage as the action beginning to calm down just a little bit. And the 48 car looking out his rearview mirror, seeing that no one is with him. That might have been the wrong move. He's going to go all the way from a solid top 5 to outside of the top 10. He'll now find himself back in line. His teammate might be joining him. You see the 24 car, Jobs, to the outside as well. No drafting help. And the 24 car now in the back of the pack as well. Back up front. See Workman. When we gave you that shot of that last restart, he was well mid-pack. He started on the inside line as well, but he's now been able to work his way all the way up to second. Winner of stage 2 has the 43 of Mike RPM right behind him, and Bear has been able to rebound. Oh, contact! The 9 of Justin Mons to the back of the pack. almost below the yellow line. Gathers it back up. Do want to make this note, as we often talk about here with Daytona and Talladega, how you are not allowed to advance your position below that double yellow line, just like you would see on the road that you drive on here. That double yellow line means you cannot cross. You can be on it, but if you decide to advance your position below it, you have violated NASCAR procedure. You will get a black flag. Hopefully we will not see that play a factor toward the end of this race. Chevrolet's occupying the first three positions right here. First Toyota is the 95. He's actually fallen back. It is the 19 now of Bags. Celtics fan who had that earlier. You see those tire marks through the grass. That was made by the 11 car. He's been able to rebound here, and now he's in fourth. There's a couple of Toyotas behind him. Now the 19 of Bags, who was leading that Toyota charge, to the outside and no drafting help. He will fall back in line all the way, fighting for 12th place or so, into the clutches of the 17 and the 2. Three of Workman now. I believe these guys up front are content in where they are riding. I don't think you're going to see a lot of momentum unless somebody makes a mistake, and we have seen that. Right now, these guys are riding single file. We'll get you a lap count here in just a moment, but these guys, a green flag pit stop. The fuel window here at Talladega for this league is 19 laps. We did go green about 5 laps ago, so we are about a quarter way. And perhaps if this thing does go green, we will see a mixed bag as far as strategy. Some of these guys that can make it, others guys that did not use that caution flag to their benefit will have to pit early. See if we can cycle to the back of the pack and follow along some storylines that are happening there. BC Racer Kid, last year's defending champion, outside of the draft all by himself with no drafting help. That has got to be a lonely feeling. Marcus Edub in the 17 car, switching rides with his teammate Fluffy. Seen some lag out of that car as well. Ooh, DWH to the outside. And it is so hard. Once you start getting in a line like this, you are going to the back whether you want to or not. On board with the 22, a diesel. Oh, a little bit of, this is going to be an accordion effect right there. You see the 14, he made a great move to avoid. He saw what was happening right there. It was an accordion effect, but now that move, it was proactive. Now he's going to have to fight himself all the way to the outside. No drafting help. But that was a great move made by the 14. It was an evasive move to avoid whatever the checkup was in front of him. Wow, a lot of checkup. And that's the thing about, oh, see the 24, Job's by himself. He must have pitted. No drafting up. That is a storyline. He is one of the playoff drivers we are following. He was solidly in, but with 20. Oh, big lag, a checkup from the 32. And you see how that broke up that long line of cars, the 48 car, all the way now 10 car lengths back because of it. Not the first time we've seen lag out of DK Brown in the 32. See on board to see if the 48 has any damage. He doesn't, it looks like, but he is in trouble here. In fact, A lot of this pack is in trouble. You see the 48 car perhaps going high. He may have some nose damage because of that. And another one of our playoff grid drivers with an issue late in this race. These front four have trouble written all over them without the aid of a yellow flag. They have indeed lost the draft. And you have to go back and wonder why the 48 car is in that position. He was solidly inside the top 5 when he made a move to the outside that did not work out for him. Went all the way to the back. And now, lag on another competitor could perhaps destroy a really good finish for that team. That was DK Brown, who, if you're Jay Hyper, the 19 car, we don't talk about how teammates communication and stuff, but these guys are in parties. I imagine they've got to be talking with one another. You might want to stay back from the 32. Some momentum gaining. The Fords are working with one another again. Slade pushed by the 12, a Big D Destroyer. They are now to the outside of the 95. This is a battle for 5th. A little bit of a breakaway here at the 95 and the 21 continue to fight side by side. Side draft is a factor in this game. What I mean by that, you see how the 8 car was able just to get to the side of the 21. That's going to stall out the progress made by that outside lane. As the 95 car looks like he is pitting right here. Actually looked like he might have an issue. He was way off the pace. He is. Maybe he's about to pit. We'll see. He's just laying back. And I don't think he's going to go down this time by. I don't know why the 95 decided to pit right there. He's by himself. As the Fords are looking to work with one another again. .43 laying off right there, allowing a little bit of daylight between him and the 3 of C. Workman. Ooh, Celtics fan. Actually, that may have been a little bit of a lag right there. I saw him jumble back. Now the 8 car falling victim. Oh, contact. Celtics fan way upstairs in the tri-oval. Had to go to that extreme 3rd lane to try and gather it up. Oh! The 6, or excuse me, no, that was the 14 of Jay Hyper. He went to tuck in behind the 8 car and misjudged it. Almost went to the outside as well. Some people letting people know we expect pit stops to happen this time by. 3 of C. Workman signaling on the backstretch. He is about to go down. Let's see what happens here from 200 miles an hour. Hopefully these guys aren't going to get themselves. You see a little bit. Wow, the 43 really hot there. So with the 8. Don't know if the 43 was able to get onto pit road without a speeding penalty there. But they all were able to get through. As you see, half the field goes down for their green flag pit stop. In comes the 3 of C. Workman for service. We expect 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. You'll need that at least to make it toward the end. These guys are within their window to make it to the end right here. You see the 8, the 13, the 43. All these guys nose to tail. An excellent pit stop by the Chevrolets. They are off and away. Where's that big pack right there? You see BC Racer Kid screaming by. Where's everybody else? Looks like the 21 of Slade and the Fords have been left out. Now, what is important to note for you guys watching at home is the 21, the 6, and the 12. All these guys that are in a pack right now, they have the benefit of the larger draft with them. And what I mean by that is that there are more cars in their draft versus the Chevrolets that just pitted right there. That's a benefit because the more cars you have in your front pack, the more you are able to make up time. And just like what we saw in the Clash, both duels, and later on in the Daytona 500, a 7-car draft can work its way a lot faster, almost a second and a half faster than some of these guys. You see them pick up the back half of the Chevrolets right here. This is all going to become one big pack again, actually. Looks like the Fords and Toyotas move to the outside lane, led by the 21 of Slade. This is concerning for those guys that just pitted. The 3 of C Workman, the 43 of Mike RPM, the 13 of Galen. All of these guys have got to be on pins and needles right now, because if this second pack, which is actually our first pack, if they are able to track them down, then their strategy goes out the window. Looks like the Fords actually tried to go down themselves and leave the Toyotas up to dry. Out to dry, excuse me. And the Chevrolets are able to morph inside the lead pack. That is good news for those Chevrolets, because they had actually lost touch with that first group of Chevrolets, so they'll be able to now gather back up and at least race amongst themselves if this thing does go green. Looks like Fluffy is on, and the Fords are going down pit road here right now. Ooh, 21 of Slade into the wall! Slade bounces it hard after contact with DWH. Or excuse me, Big D Destroyer in the 12. Major front end damage to the 21, our leader. I'm telling you, if it weren't for bad luck, the 21 car, this race would have no luck. My goodness, a lot of front end damage, and the day practically done for the 21 of Slade, who needed a good day here. I believe that was off the bumper of the 22. You see him and the 14 actually make contact. I don't know. The 21 is actually able to gather back up. He did not fix the damage to try and save himself from losing touch with his lead pack. Wow, that was a big moment. You see Mike RPM just to the left of your screen, the first of those Chevrolets, and the field is pretty much strung out. Everyone trying to get up to speed. Slade, oh, he's going to continue to fall back. I don't know how he can compete with that damage. He has got to be hot inside that race car. Now, those couple of laps led by that front pack, that is why you see the 13, the 43, and the 3 all behind those guys that just pitted.
Alrighty.
3 wide. Briefly, and the 13, the 3, and the 8 all working with one another. They're able to get around the Toyotas, or excuse me, the Toyota of Celtics fan. Let's go back up front and see who our leader is. It might be the 22, a Diesel here. I believe it is. Man, that is going to be a heartbreak for the 21 car. How many to go in the States there, T? I hear you back.
Oh, yeah, I need a recap. I'll give you a idea here as soon as they cross the line next time.
Well, it has been gone from bad to worse for the 21 car. Green flag pit stops are done. And a 5-car breakaway has been left. You think the Fords have been able to work their strategy up to pretty well, except for the contact between the 22 and the 21, or the 12 and the 21.
We got 8 laps to go.
8 laps to go. So 7 to go this time by.
That 22, right before I took off, I seen he was on that in the front part of that outside line, and the Fords were trying to get something working. Apparently, they did something.
Well, they did, but unfortunately, it came at the expense of the 21 there, Slade. He got pushed out of line by either the 22 or the 12. It was a Team Penske car, And 21 is slated with major damage. He will not be a factor. 7 to go. Coming to 6 this time by. And the front 5 have broken away from the rest of the field. You see Fluffy, Bags, DK Brown, and Jay Hyper. All these guys are your top 5 trying to settle the win amongst themselves in this group.
Well, we got another group of 5 right behind them.
They are. The 13 of Galen, they have a little bit more cars in their draft that might work out for them. Let's see if we can go back and take a look and see who's leading. It might have been the 12 Big D Destroyer that got into the side of the 21, but that is a storyline we'll have to follow for later.
Yeah, all these guys should be good. I'm looking at J-Mon's stream. It looks like that 48 is really lagging. J-Mon's is doing a good job of not riding his bumper. He's doing a little bit of jitterbug on his stream. We'll see if that affects that second pack. Oh, and it does.
Well, the second pack actually is led by Galen in that 13. I don't know. Max Boost and a lot of those guys were by themselves, so.
Yeah, there's a third pack back there that has Max Boost, J-Mons, and I'm not sure who else is at DWH. Not sure who that is. Now, the thing is, if these guys get spread out, we could see another caution. I believe it's 5.
Oh, sorry. Let me know that.
Yes, 5 to go.
5 to go, so 4 to go this time.
4 next time.
And you do see the 22 leading on your screen, right? As far as that dot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 22 is the leader.
A lot of these guys, Jobs, not a factor with his teammates here today. A lot of storylines there of a big number of competitors that have lost the draft and will not get the benefit of trying to get their way in to the next round.
Yeah, that 48's lag right now is really boogering up that second pack. He looks like he's going to the back of that, or that third pack. They're not going to be an issue, but it looks like that second pack might be gaining a little bit of time.
They are a little bit more formation. The energy is picking up in that first pack there, and I think that's because people are wanting to go, and that's allowing that second pack. Remember the Daytona 500 there finished for MBN, where that second pack led by C. Workman and Jason Keffer, they were able to catch that front group. They might be able to do it again here at Talladega. They'll work through the lap traffic of the 24 Jobs here. What will the 22 do here? Looks like the 24 is going to stay up high. Allow these guys to run it out.
See that second group pick them up, or get back up there. But if
5 versus 5.
Group, and this 24 might be able to help that second group out too.
He might. You're right. If he ducks back low, he might provide the draft and the link.
He's going to be the
to
pick.
That chain, and that could bring up that second pack. 2 to go this time by.
They're coming.
Wow, Fluffy and Bags make contact.
19 getting shuffled out. Oh, that second pack's there now.
That's all
right.
13 of Galen needed. Now, what lane do you block? 2 to go this time by.
Are you excited? Because I am.
I am impressed by the chances by the 13. The Fords have been able to work well, but the 13 to the outside. See Workman as well. Here comes Bags in the middle. Wow, the 13 from the high side to the low side, blocking that advance. The 8 of Sloppy Joe let him in. I don't think he wanted to, though.
It's about to get dicey here. We're going to see. Oh, yeah, they're shaking around back there.
Fluffy, we talked about his chances, how he is good no matter where we go. Right on the back bumper of the 22. 3 Fords, 1 Chevrolet, 1 Toyota. And they, lag again out of the 32. DK Brown checks up the progress made by the rest of the pack as the white flag is displayed. 1 lap to go here. The next flag ends the race.
Wow.
Diesel in front of the 6 car of Fluffy. Fluffy trying to bring Ryan Newman's name to victory lane for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. The 22 of Diesel trying to deny him. A little bit of daylight, no help from the 32 yet. Galen in the 11, a Celtics fan, not close enough as well. Does the 6 car Fluffy, does he pull out? Does the 22 car block him in?
I'm surprised the 6 didn't back off and try to get that run with the 32.
6 car, he's content. He hasn't made a move yet to the outside. Here comes DK Brown trying to get there. In the wall. Diesel. Wow, the 32 and DK Brown might have got him. It was a photo finish at the line.
I can't believe the 22 didn't come up to block the 32.
I think DK Brown got him. The 32 won?
No, I believe that's who won. I'll tell you right now here. DK, Diesel, Fluffy, Celtics, and Galen, your top 5. So
wow.
DK did get the win.
Where did that 32 car come from?
Well, he sat back off that 6, and he got that run off 4, and I was surprised that Fluffy didn't go up with him. I'm surprised the 22 Diesel didn't go up to block it, and that 32, he just had all the room he wanted to work with to get across the stripe first.
Corey LaJoy and Go Fast Racing celebrating their first win. Didn't we talk about here? See how anybody could win this race. A small team able to get it done. That's the first time the 32 car has visited victory lane in this series. Congratulations to DK Brown. It doesn't come without some controversy, though. We did see some lag out of that Ford Mustang.
We'll discuss that, see if anything was said, but let's get our... I'll get them in here. Let's see. I think I have all of them on my list. Okay. Diesel, DK. Who did I say? Diesel, DK, and...
I believe it was Celtics. Yes, Celtics fan. Another last lap pass here at Talladega Superspeedway. Another last lap pass here for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. Welcome to the post-race ceremony here on NASCAR Heat 4, led to you by Alexander Ned and NRG. We are awaiting the winner of tonight's Alabama 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. He'll be joining us here momentarily.
Do you have DK on your friends list?
You know, I do. I don't believe I do, but
I can get these other guys in there. I'm sure one of them do. You said the other one was Celtics?
Yes.
Okay. Man, that's crazy knowing that Fluffy got shuffled back.
He did.
That far.
And Diesel had it in the bag. But Corey LaJoy, man, I'm telling you what a party it would be to see this car in victory lane. DK Brown going to join us in victory lane here for tonight's post-race ceremonies. And I will make this party public. Excuse me while I blue screen y'all. I'm sorry, Fluffy did make it. Fluffy is in, it looks like not Celtics fan, so it's DK, Diesel, and Fluffy. I'm just going to... Can I make the party? I'll make it public. And now we can... Let's see if I can invite. Let's see if I invite. All right, I was able to invite DK Brown. Let's see.
Send a couple invites to... Fluffy
and Diesel.
And Diesel. I got both of them already. I'll send them another. That was exciting. That second group caught that first group in a
and like you said there, T, that 24 car, unbeknownst to him, he was able to lead that draft right there. And now we are getting our podium finishers here for the Midnight Broadcasting Network on another exciting Tuesday night finish. Want to welcome in the 32 car DK Brown. DK, man, where did you get that run on that final corner to get around the 22 at the end?
Oh, wow, man, I was, to be honest, man, I was just wanting Ford to win, and I was content riding in third, and I went up to try to stall the run, and I got a major lag spike, or I don't know what it was, but it shot me about 15 mile an hour faster, and that's basically what got me around him. What a race, though. 2 and 3 wide. It was a fun race. Glad to bring the Go Fast Ford Mustang home in first.
Now, I am glad you pointed out the lag right there. Do you think that did help you ultimately win this race, or was that push from the 11 Celtics fan enough to get you where you needed to go?
The lag spike definitely gave me the win. It was, I mean, my run had stalled, and then when he lag spiked me, it shot my car. I gained about 15 mile an hour.
Well, a win is a win here, and you were still able to get it done, I believe. Is this your first win for Midnight Broadcasting Network?
It's my second. I went home.
Actually, yeah, I think you won at it was right after Darlington. Alex, you weren't there.
Excuse me. I apologize. I didn't know.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago. It was one of the weeks that you had just missed. DK won on pit strategy. Happened to be on pit road at the right time, got out front, and was able to hold it off at the end. But yeah, that was the second one here in the last few weeks. Congrats, man.
I appreciate it, man. I'm really happy to win. Talladega's my home track, so glad I can bring it home in victory lane.
All right, DK, well, congratulations there. A great run after a 3-wide finish practically to get there. A little bit of luck, but hey, rather be lucky than good sometimes, and was ultimately enough for the 32 car to celebrate his second win for the Midnight Broadcasting Network. Congratulations there, DK. Let's see if we can get, I believe it was Fluffy that was able to join. I think he finished in third, but tonight you brought the colors and number of someone that is on everyone's mind right now. Ryan Newman, what does it mean to you? I know you're already solidly in to the next round of the playoffs here, but what did it mean to have such a good finish for a man who's now in the hospital?
It means a lot, man. I grew up watching Ryan Newman back in 2002 as a little kid, and being able to represent this team, being drafted last year in the esports by these guys, supported Ryan and all them guys at Roush for years when I was a little kid as well, and it means a lot. Tributing to a driver and a father, and he's a good dude, well-rounded guy, and just hope for the best, and make a full recovery. And this finish definitely kind of put a spark in the whole team over at Roush. So it means a lot, especially towards me, and so it's a very joyful moment to being able to drive that car tonight at Talladega.
That was an awesome finish, and I just I had to ask, were you just gonna push Diesel back to the start-finish line? Because I was surprised you didn't make that move to the outside line when the 32 was coming. Was it just too fast that you didn't want to try to block it, or what was your mindset there coming off 4?
Well, there was nothing really I could have done because, we had only 4-5 cars. There was a big-ass pack, in the back, and they were hauling, and it was just one of them things where you couldn't really do much and just, just hope for a good finish, and that's why I was behind the 22 there, and, there was nothing I really could have done. So I just contended with second, and then literally going through the trial, those cars just came by so quick, and there was really nothing I could have really done at that point. So I just, nailed the gas and just hope for the best, man. And, we rounded out third here tonight, and, it was a very spectacular race. A lot of beating and banging and 3-wide scenarios, but, we definitely came up through the field tonight, and we got it done. Got a top 3 out of the deal.
Oh, good job, man. And I tell you what, if I had $1 for every time that I've had a post-race interview with you, I'd probably have a lot of dollars. So congrats, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Fluffy, another podium finish for you tonight. Congratulations. I know your work in Ford is looking already to next week with the next round of the playoffs here. So I want to congratulate you. Do we have Diesel? Is he in here?
I've sent him quite a few invites. He still hasn't come in. I'll send him one more and give him a second, but he's another guy. Sometimes he just don't like to talk.
Well,
He might not have been too content with losing that one the way that he did.
That was kind of a shock to see
Yeah,
where the
I was
22
surprised
was.
he didn't go up and throw that block on the 32, just as like I mentioned to Fluffy. I'm surprised either Fluffy goes and tries to get that shove from the 32, or the 22 goes up and blocks the 32 and tries to maintain his position. But neither of them happened. So wasn't exactly what I was expecting, and it is unfortunate that lag is an issue sometimes. But hey, you'll take a win when you can get it. I'm sure it'll be discussed, but we'll move on to next week, which I'm not sure what do we got next week.
I'm not sure either, but I will say this: what a great race! It was exciting from start to finish. I feel for some of the competitors that had issues, including the 4 BC racer kid Jobs, 21 of Slade, who was a victim, it seemed like, of everyone tonight. I guess we might never know what sent that 21 car. It might have been the 12 or the 22. I just know it was a yellow car. We'll have, unfortunately, to look back at a replay right there. But, T, it was everything we thought and more of leading up to tonight.
Yeah, it was. We've seen issues on pit road, which we had talked about. We see. I was surprised to see people in the first couple stages make as many moves to the outside and try to get that going than I thought. But you love to see it. We've seen a little bit of 3 wide, which a lot of the time it didn't work out the way that we would like to see it. But that's just part of the game. And yeah, pretty much everything we thought we were going to see, including somebody that hasn't won a lot this season here at Midnight, win a race. We knew it was anybody's race. As long as you had the draft, first pack or second pack, that 24 car saved that second pack. I think if that 24 car went there, maybe they get there, but they wouldn't have got there soon as they did.
As fast. I believe you were right. That 24 car was provided the missing link in that chain, and that was able to connect that whole group to give you a great finish that allowed the 32, Corey LaJoy, DK Brown, his second win for the Midnight Broadcasting Network.
Yep, congrats.
All right, well, again, another exciting race in the books for tonight on a Tuesday night. Want to thank NRG for calling the race with me. I appreciate it.
Always, brother.
All of us here at the Midnight Broadcasting Network hope to see you guys here next Tuesday beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, we will see you guys next time. Shout out to Pocono Raceway again, Ron and Imports, and a lot of our sponsors. Slade, again, thank you so much for allowing me to continue to broadcast this. And from all of us tonight, I want to give one last remark. Our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to the 6th of Ryan Newman. He is hospitalized. Last count, looks like there's been no further update, but we do know he is awake and alert, but undoubtedly has a long road of recovery to him. But Rocket Man, Ryan, you are in our thoughts. I know in every community tonight, online, in real life, friends, family, we are thinking of you and the man that pilots that 6 car. 18 career victories in the Cup Series.
Sure.
We are going to end it right here. We will see you guys next time. Thank you from all of us at the Midnight Broadcasting Network. So long from Talladega on NASCAR Heat 4.
Take it easy.